beginning felt a special kinship with this family here, and it's always an honor to step in and bring some thoughts and share some thoughts with you today. I'm sure most of you, like I, have been inundated with 9/11 things on TV that are commemorating what happened 20 years ago, and I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this morning and just take a couple of minutes to send our collective consciousness of healing and love to anybody who still is dealing with the aftermath of 9/11. So if we could just take just a minute to hold them in our highest consciousness, and as a collective body send them love and healing and anything that they may still be dealing with as a result of what happened 20 years ago. Amen. Thank you. So when I was trying to decide what I wanted to talk about today, I decided to talk about what I needed, with the assumption that you might need it too. So there's a saying, and it's something like this: when the going gets tough,
the tough gets going.
One more time. When the going gets tough, the
tough gets going.
So how tough are you? How are you handling this pandemic? Have you been able to stay emotionally, physically, and spiritually centered? You know, in early 2020, when this pandemic hit, there was a part of me that was actually thankful. Not for the pandemic, of course, but for the opportunity to stop the madness that I had created. I had packed my schedule with more than I could do, and my anxiety about that schedule was starting to build. The pandemic gave me a legitimate excuse to stop everything and regroup. It gave me a reason to rest. Of course, that was then, and this is now. A year and a half later. Now I find myself rested, but I also have this building undertone of frustration and irritability. I miss the carefree days of going to restaurants, concerts, planning a cruise, or catching a flight to visit family and friends. I miss hugging people without worrying if somebody's vaccinated. I found myself eating more and more comfort food and having less and less the desire to exercise, which has resulted in, of course, some weight gain and what people are referring to as the COVID-15. Unfortunately for me, it's been the COVID-30. And hearing this week that there's another COVID variant really bummed me out. So to be honest, I haven't been so tough. In preparing for this lesson, I started thinking about being tough, or what it means to have faith. They're pretty easy when things are going good, right? The real test is when things get difficult, like what we're experiencing now with the pandemic. When you look up tough in the dictionary, it's defined as being strong enough to withstand adverse conditions. Being strong enough to withstand adverse conditions. And when you look up faith in the dictionary, it says faith is the complete trust or confidence in something. The complete trust or confidence in something. And since we want to be strong enough to withstand these adverse conditions, we do have to look at our faith, don't we? Where are we placing our complete trust or confidence? Are we using the tools that Unity has placed in our tool belt that we learn about each Sunday? Or are we just giving up and doing what's easy, parking ourselves in front of the TV, and feeding ourselves, for the most part, our daily dose of gloom and doom? Eric Butterworth, in his book Spiritual Economics, reminds us that we should not listen to the advice of the crepe hangers. Now, does anybody have an idea what a crepe hanger is? Because I had to look that one up. Thank you for affirming that I wasn't the only one on the planet who didn't know that. So a crepe hanger is one who always looks at the bad side of things and is morbid or gloomy. Sounds like the news to me. That's why I'm trying not to watch it too much. The origin of crepe hanger came from the olden days when a crepe, which was a type of material that was very wrinkly, was hung on the door of a deceased person's home. Of course, in truth, the crepe hangers are not always out there. Sometimes they're in here, aren't they? The biggest challenge that we have is moving our mind from woe to wow. Psalms 1 says, "Blessed is the one who does not listen to the counsel of the wicked." Do you have a counsel of wicked meeting in your head? I know that there are times that I do. Eric Butterworth says changing our mind and redirecting our thoughts back to truth is as easy as flipping a switch. You can decide in an instant that you want to change your thinking or redirect your thoughts. When your thinking is negative, or as Charles Fillmore would say, in error, you have a choice. You can choose to stay in the negative, believing that you're just a victim of circumstance, or not. I often ask people, who's driving your bus? What I mean by that is who's in control of your mind? The counsel of the wicked, the crepe hangers, or you? Where is your consciousness? You know, over and over, Unity teaches us to practice right thinking, despite how things may appear, and to remind ourselves of our dignity, and to focus on the good in our lives. How many times have you heard from a Unity minister or teacher to think about gratitude and do gratitude list? Joshua 24:15 says, "Choose today whom you will serve." Are you going to serve the crepe hangers? Or are you going to serve the Spirit that's right here every day? Emily Cady, who's a well-known New Thought teacher, says there's but one hand in the universe. It's God's hand. Whenever you have felt empty, it's because you have believed yourself separate from God. And that's really the core issue, isn't it? When we let things out there affect us in here, we're doing what Emily Cady says. We're believing ourselves separate from God. We're forgetting the very thing that we say in every Sunday service. In fact, we just said it. There is only one presence, one power in the universe, and in my life, God the good, the omnipotent. What is omnipotent? How many of you have said that and not thought about what that actually means? Anybody want to venture out?
All powerful.
All powerful, having unlimited power. So there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the all-powerful. So let's just take a minute to say our statement of belief. I know we did it earlier, but I'm going to ask you to say it and not just, we kind of get into habits like everybody else in other churches as well, where we kind of just do our thing. This time I want you to really say it. I want you to think about what you're saying, and I want you to feel it. Feel it right here. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. All right, just in case you're like me and a slow learner, let's do that again. There is only one power, presence, one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. Can you feel that shift? That's one tool that you can use when the crepe hangers start controlling what's going on up here and start getting you down. When the going gets tough and that black hole of depression starts to suck you in, go back to your Unity basics. Go back to what we do here every Sunday. Another thing that has helped me personally is also the prayer for protection. I tend to be an anxious person, and sometimes that gets in the way of my sleeping. And when I go to bed and I've got all this stuff in my head, trolling around, I'm thinking about this or that, I take a moment and I just stop and I say the prayer for protection. But instead of saying us, I say me, because that makes it more personal. That speaks to my heart. So I'm going to ask if you would do that with me as well. In other words, I would say, the light of God surrounds me, okay? Together, the light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. One more time. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. Did you feel that? It works, doesn't it? So I hope by using these two common Unity sayings that you can feel that shift to a more calm and peaceful place. When you feel yourself stuck in error thinking, these are two things that you can do to remind yourself of the truth. You can use them, as Butterworth said, to flip the switch and remind yourself that despite appearances, God is in control. Divine order is in place, and you are not separate from God. Recently, I found something else that helps me flip the switch, and I'm going to share that with you a little bit. You can go ahead and help me out there. What I found is getting out of myself. Whether it is helping someone load their car up at Costco when they're trying to unload it, to put stuff in their car, or if it's to just help somebody in general. But what I started doing that really helped me was I went to the post office. Can I have one of those, Sarah?
Yes.
I meant to bring one up here. I forgot. Thanks. And I purchased these previously already stamped postcards. And I made some little stickers where you would put the address of who sent it that say, from someone who loves you. And then when I start feeling kind of I grab a couple of these, I address it to somebody I know, and on the back of it I write something uplifting, whether it's a scripture, a saying, a joke, or maybe just telling them how much they mean to me. And I've gotten to where I do that almost every day or every other day. I just grab a couple of these and do that. And just by doing that one thing, it takes me out of myself. And then I get kind of giddy almost. I start thinking about, I wonder what they're going to do when they get this in the mail. And they don't know who it's from. And I know it's going to make their day. Because we all like snail mail, don't we? I mean, really, when do you ever get a letter anymore, right? But to actually get something in the mail that you can touch and read. So I'm giving you this, and I'm giving you your homework assignment. Now, I've already paid for the postage, so come on, it shouldn't be that hard, right? And so the next time you feel yourself kind of getting in, feeling that way, or you just want your light to shine a little more today, I'd like for you to send these out. That's your homework assignment. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. One of my favorite sayings that from Eric Butterworth, can you tell I like Eric Butterworth? I do. I'm in love with Eric Butterworth. He says, you can't stop the birds from flying over your head, but you can keep them from building a nest in your hair. So my translation of that would be, I can't help the fact that we have a pandemic, but I can use the tools in my Unity tool belt to help keep it from infecting my thoughts and my beliefs. I can move to faith, putting my complete trust and confidence in the one power in the universe which surrounds me in love and protects me at all times. And so it is. I know we usually do the Lord's Prayer before meditation, but if you don't mind, we're going to flip those today. And I'm just going to ask if you join me in a guided meditation. Because I took some allergy medicine that's drying me out, I've got to take a quick drink. Okay. If you can just find your comfortable spot. We all know that meditation is not a science. Everybody does it a little bit differently. But mainly you just want to go to that place where you can feel your breath coming in and out. In fact, just take a deep breath and bring in the love and all of those things that we talked about today that are centering. And then as you exhale, just let go of any dis-ease that may be something that you are feeling. And just know that today it's okay to let that go. And as you find that comfortable place, as your outer eyes are closed and your inner eyes are wide open, I'm going to ask you to go to that special place that sometimes you get to go, where you have no doubt that God exists. It could be a mountaintop, it could be a beach, it could be a walk on a beautiful pathway. I'm just going to ask you to go to that special place where you know when you get there that God is with you. And when you arrive, you're going to notice something kind of glimmering off to the side, where the sun has hit it and it's just kind of shiny. And you're going to walk to that place and investigate what in the world is that. And the closer you get, you see that it's either kind of covered in some sand or leaves or twigs, but you still see it, it still shines. And you see that it's a golden box. It's a small one, but it's just radiant. And you just know that there is a message in there just for you. You just know in your heart. So you open that box, and sure enough, there's a small piece of paper inside. And you open that paper, and what you see is this: I've got this. All is well. There is nothing to fear. All is in divine order. I've got this. All is well. There is nothing to fear. All is in divine order. And you just say that to yourself a few times. And as you look at it again, you realize that as you're looking at it, the words are changing. Especially the first word. It was, I've got this. But now it says, we've got this. We've got this. All is well. You have nothing to fear. All is in divine order. We've got this. All is well. You have nothing to fear. All is in divine order. And you just sit with that for a while and you take it in as you go to that place of silence and really let that resonate deep within your soul at this time. And as you take your special message with you, and you start to leave that place, you know that that is a message that you can read, you can say to yourself at any time, and you know it's true. And when you're ready to come back to this room, this place, come back, just take your time. When you're ready, open your outer eyes. Amen. All right, now let's do the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgave our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are the Lord of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are the part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are the part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. To see you to the morning. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. The face of God. I hold you in my heart. In my heart. You are my family. My family. You are the face of God. Face of God. You are the face of God. Face of God. I hold you in my heart. In my heart. You are my family. My family. You are the face of God. Face of God. You are the face of God. Face of God. I hold you in my heart. In my heart. You are the part of me. You are the face of God. Face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. 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 The face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of sin. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of
That was so special. Thank you so much. Forgot to say we needed a tissue because I wasn't sure I knew that for sure. But, wow. Thank you, Louis. What a gift. Yeah. So now I invite you all to, let's make our circle.